Shotglass23 here, and I've been watching a few clips and hearing some not so great news in terms of when referring to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And since he's taken over, Nomura, the original Final Fantasy creator, left the company years ago, around, I think, Final Fantasy XII's development. And Nomura is basically taken over. He's been a part of the Final Fantasy project for a good long time. He was a young buck with a lot of great ideas, but but the original creators had him kind of reined in enough that some of his ideas would be sprinkled in there, but he wouldn't, take over from the whole spectrum of Final Fantasy, the origins of it. It's not that I'm against change, but but still need to keep the core of what it is there, and that hasn't been the case in terms of Final Fantasy 13 and 15. If you like 13 and 15, good for you. As for me, I've looked at those games as huge disappointments in every way, shape, or form. Hell, Final Fantasy 15 wasn't even done yet after 10 years, and now they're just putting in all this DLC crap that should have been in the game in the first place. But not getting into that right now. Nomura basically I think he had a little press conference talking about how they fired the guys that were the outside sources that were working on the remake, and they brought the game back in house. I guess they didn't like the direction it was going in, whatever. And now they've completely changed the visual look. Whatever you saw a few months ago, whatever we saw of the gameplay and the graphics from Final Fantasy 15 about a year or so ago, a couple of years ago now, since they announced it, that's just throw that out the window, because they've got it. They said they have it looking more like closer to the Final Fantasy VII, the original game there. That's my original copy I've had since 1998. The other thing I don't understand is why is Nomura still in charge of this? I mean, he's clearly not the guy for Final Fantasy. He's not the guy. I'm sorry. Has Enix or Square Enix or whoever's in charge now, do they not have enough confidence in anybody else in their staff who may have a love for this project that they fire this dude and get someone else? I know that's blasphemous for me to say, but for anybody who's so deep into Final Fantasy, they can't imagine that happening. But dude, Nomura needs to go. I'm sorry. These projects take too long to get done. These projects take way too long, way too much time, way too much money that the video game industry is always complaining about and whining about nowadays. There's nobody there. There's nobody else they could hire. There's no one that they could search and find that has an affection for this franchise that they can't find to replace this guy with, because Nomura's not the guy, man. He's not the one who should be in charge. Nomura should not be in charge of the Final Fantasy franchise. He shouldn't be. That's just my feel on that. The failures of 13. I'm sorry. Yeah, there are some people that like, some weird people out there that even love Final Fantasy 13 and 15. But for the most part, it's a very divisive audience that detests those two games. 13-2, Lightning Returns, even though I thought that was okay. And then, this one in 15, that just was a piece of crap that wasn't even finished. It didn't even know what it wanted to be. And it certainly wasn't Final Fantasy, in my opinion. So Nomura needs to go. It's time to fire this dude. It's time to fire Nomura. Enough's enough. Enough's enough with this. He's got to go. Sorry. Anyway, they've had that. They're taking it back to looking more like that, which, don't get me wrong, I like the newer look. It was more realistic, still with a little bit of Japanese goodness, fiction going in there. You're going to keep that anime look a little bit. I like that anime look very much so. Big fan of that. But they had it looking more grounded, which was fine. I thought it looked awesome. But they said they're going to go back to making it look more like Final Fantasy VII's original look, which is fine. I mean, again, I'm thinking it's going to be looking more like a modern-day Kingdom Hearts. They probably might make it look a bit more real than that. But even though Kingdom Hearts kind of it looked like Final Fantasy VII's look, with the whole Smurf-looking big feet, big heads, small body kind of look going on there. It still had a higher on the PS2 is what I'm talking about, Kingdom Hearts. It still had a better graphical visual look to it. So I'm thinking maybe they're going to go for that. but still probably make it look a bit more real, which is fine to a certain degree, at least anyway. So I'm hoping I don't have a problem with that, especially with all the content that's in there, like the cross-dressing scene and everything. You might not want them to look so serious, so realistic. This kind of has me worried because now that it sounds like they're almost starting from scratch. I mean, think about it. They're saying they changed the way the game looks graphically all the way around. How much work did that take? How much money did that take? And to have to move all that, like I said, they brought it back in-house. They brought it back to Square Enix, and took it away from the outside source, fired them. So now, it's been, a couple of years since they announced this? Almost 3 years, I think. Since 2015 maybe? 2016? They're doing this overhaul. So is this going to be another Final Fantasy 15 kind of situation? Or Final Fantasy Versus 13/15? Where it was in development hell for 10 years. That's pretty much 10 years. And now they're doing this all over again, man. I can see it happening. Look, if it's 5 years, if it's 6 years, this is gonna be bad. People are still gonna buy it. It's Final Fantasy VII. For some people, Final Fantasy VII was the first RPG they ever played and fell in love with the genre because of it. Japanese RPGs, period. They were kind of a cult followed thing from the SNES, but they blew up with Final Fantasy VII. I mean, it became a phenomenon. JRPGs became a phenomenon. I hate saying JRPGs, but just to differentiate from the Western style RPGs. It's what springboarded those kinds of games into people's lives, happily, fortunately. And now this remake, man, it sounds like this is gonna be another situation where it's gonna take forever. Nomura is notorious for this, man. Notorious for this. And I'm just kind of getting sick and tired of how this guy is just holding games up. Like, we've had games like, I think Bravely Default from Square Enix, and now Project Octopath, which is coming out on the Nintendo Switch. As far as I know, it's exclusive to the Switch. And I'm looking forward to those games coming from Square Enix. And I think they're going to be great. I mean, Bravely Default is a great game. And the demo of Octopath is just, oh my god, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to play that game. But those are smaller projects. Graphically, they have an old school kind of visual feel to them. That 16-bit kind of feel, but with a modern day facelift. And that's fine. Not as costly. Sure, it costs a little bit, but not as costly as something that's more upscale than this Final Fantasy remake. So those games will be coming out, and I'm sure they're going to be fine. But man, Nomura, every time he gets his hands on this specific Final Fantasy franchise, it just doesn't go well, man. I'm sorry, 13 was shit. 15, same thing, an unfinished, I don't really know what we want to be shit. There's no magic in the game. You get punished for the damn summons that you cast. You really can't control the summons, really, in the game. At least I never figured out how to do it. And it's just, magic in the game. You have to get vials, and mix them together. Fucking alchemy. I mean, that shit sucked. That wasn't Final Fantasy. I'm sorry. If anybody else liked it, that's fine. But I thought that game was a piece of shit. Pardon my language. Piece of crap. And now this crap. This is, again, the game's gonna sell like hotcakes. It's Final Fantasy VII. But the way this is looking, man, it's looking really, really bad. And I'm really wondering how they're gonna fix this. Nomura is just, he's doing it again, man. He's doing it again. He's drawing this game out. This is why when these developers want to do Kickstarters and things like that, like Mighty Number 9 and all these things, this is why they don't run the company. They work for the company. They make the games. They're not the person trying to keep the game going and consistent, because they're not managers. They're not anything. They make the game. And when they're in charge of doing more than that, they screw up. Like I said, see Mighty Number 9. And this guy's a perfect example of somebody who's got plenty of money at his disposal, but he's screwing things up. He's totally screwing things up. And I really don't like that this is going down. Anyway, Well, how do you guys? I'm really depressed about this because I love Final Fantasy VII, man. I really do. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think this is getting blown out of proportion? You know, I think Nomura sucks, basically. You know, but hey, you know, I could be wrong. It could end up being a great thing that they're changing it and it's taking this much longer again. You guys, give me your comments. How do you feel about it? Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and you guys and subscribe. And you guys take care. All right, peace.